Hello, this video explores some questions about law and morality. What do we mean by law? What exactly is morality? And what is the relationship between law and morality? I'll begin with a case from World War II. All soldiers home on leave in the dark days of 1944 must have needed to rest, drink, party and let off steam. In Nazi Germany, however, it was especially important to know when to keep your opinions to yourself. The wife of one young soldier on leave reported her husband to the police for insulting remarks he had allegedly made about Hitler. Nazi laws banned statements that were detrimental to the government of the Third Reich. The young soldier was arrested, tried, and sentenced to death. For some reason, the soldier was in the end given a prison sentence instead. His wife later admitted that she was tired of their marriage. It's perhaps worth noting she had no legal duty to report the rash comments that he had made. So, in 1949, after the war, the wife was prosecuted in a West German court. This case was later considered in the work of Professor H.L.A. Hart. The wife was charged under contemporary German laws of unlawfully depriving a person of his freedom. Her defense was that her husband's imprisonment was lawful at the time, so she had not committed a crime. In principle, she had a point, maybe. However much we may loathe her actions, it seems unfair to start making actions retrospectively unlawful. How can people know where they stand if they can be punished for breaking a law that did not exist at the time of their actions? Should the Nazi law be regarded as valid law, or on the basis of its immorality, should be treated as not having the proper force of law? Although the soldier's wife acted immorally, most of us accept, most of the time, that the law is the law. Or does the law have to be moral to count as law? One definition of law is to say that it is rules created by the state that can be enforced in the courts. Where these legal rules are broken, there's the potential that the state, through the court system, will either punish someone in the case of criminal law or require another person to provide compensation in the case of civil law. Morality is about principles or standards that define good or bad human conduct. We know that something may be immoral but not illegal. For example, being very rude is not of itself unlawful, although it might be seen as immoral. So, what is the link between law and morality? Firstly, in almost any established society, the law seems to be a system for enforcing or policing at least the most important moral rules. Murder, rape, and theft are, of course, both immoral and illegal. In addition, if law involves rules, then we would expect society to regard breaking these rules as wrong in some sense. In other words, we would expect most people to regard breaking the law as immoral. One of the problems with morality, however, is that it might be difficult to know exactly whose morality should be enforced. There are often conflicting views about what the true principles of morality are. After all, it wasn't very long ago that the South African system of apartheid, where you had a racially segregated society, was clearly enforced by laws. Even in liberal Western democracies, there are clear differences of opinion about the morality of some laws. For example, abortion law. In countries such as the UK and the USA, significant numbers of people see legal abortion as always wrong and immoral, while others see legal abortion, at least in certain circumstances, as part of a woman's fundamental rights. There are many different schools of thought among legal philosophers about the relationship between morality and law. However, it's helpful to start with understanding that many of these different ideas fall into one of two broad categories: natural law or positivism. It's worth summarizing these two approaches to help unravel the relationship between law and morality. Followers of natural law include people such as Plato, Aristotle, Aquinas, Kant, and Fuller. What natural law thinkers agree on is that true law is derived from moral principles. These principles in turn come from one of three sources. One, religion, holy books such as the Bible and the Quran, for instance. Two, reason, by which I mean people deriving ideas about morality merely through logical reasoning or rational thought. One example here is laws protecting principles of human rights. And three, nature. This is about the idea that certain important fundamental principles can be observed in nature itself. Going back to our soldier case, the German Court of Appeal, in the case of this soldier, decided that the Nazi statute was contrary to the sound conscience and sense of justice of all decent human beings, and as such did not amount to a law. This is the approach of the natural lawyer. Wicked law is not really law at all. If we agree with this, the wife of the soldier cannot shelter behind the idea that she was only acting within the law. Those who argue for positivism, people such as Bentham, Hart, Austin and Kelson, they concentrate on whether laws are legitimately made in a particular state. Basically, according to positivists, a law is a valid law if a recognized human authority declares it to be law. The moral content of the law is irrelevant to its validity. What matters in defining law is one, whether the law was made by the appropriate people, and two, whether the agreed procedures for making law were followed by those people when they made that particular law. So, evil laws are okay? Not really. Positivists may well have other ways of deciding what is good and bad law. For example, lots of positivists are heavily influenced by the ideas of Jeremy Bentham, who said that the law should seek to maximize pleasure and minimize pain for the greatest possible number of people. So, positivists and those who argue for natural law will often agree on what the content of the law should be. Where they disagree is on the validity of an immoral law. To Hart and other people, it could not be ignored that the soldier's wife did something which on the face of it was legal at the time. Instead of simply declaring the Nazi law to be immoral and therefore invalid, Hart said it was better to make hard decisions about whether we thought it was just, in this instance, to pass a retrospective law allowing her to be punished for what she'd done. I hope this was helpful. Please take a moment to subscribe to the LearnLoads YouTube channel so you can get news of new law videos from LearnLoads. And please take a second to click the like button below if you'd like to. Click on the big box just here to watch my video introducing the doctrine of legal precedent. Bye.